Hi, in this video we are going to know how exactly we can calculate the cost of a particular job run using SQL. So we don't need to do any manual calculation like how many DBUs were used based on the cluster config and all. Databricks it provide a very simple out of the box way using system tables where it logs everything. We can simply use SQL and know the exact cost. And why we will be interested in knowing the exact cost is sometimes a job is running for very long. We may want to know why or like what is the exact or how many dollars did it cost me when I ran that. Or if we are doing any kind of performance optimization. So along with time, we shall also calculate the cost of the previous run before doing any optimization and after doing optimization, what is my cost. So that way, apart from time, we can tell in terms of cost as well, how much was the cost that was saved. So let's analyze all this, how we can get exactly using SQL. Let's get started. For this demo, I have created this simple demo 3 job, and it here we can see that it ran for 2 hours and then it terminated successfully. So here we will be calculating the exact cost for this particular run. So if I go inside this particular run, then this is where we get the job run ID. So here is the job ID which is common across all the runs of a job, and for every time we run a job, a new job run ID is created. So this job run ID is very important, and using this we will calculate the cost. So I am going to copy it. And on the left side, if you can see, so this is a dummy job that I have created. It is simply what it is doing is it is just wait sleeping for 60 seconds and just printing how many minutes are passed. It just ran for 2 hours. So it's just some dummy job. You can use this one also if you want to try it out. Next, let's understand what are system tables and where is the exact place where information about cost and other things are stored. So the answer to that, it is in system tables. If we go to catalog here on the left side, and here we get multiple schemas. So one of them, it is system. By default, you may or may not see this because permissions are required to see this schema. If you don't have, you can get read access by working with your admins. If we go inside this, we can see there are different schemas there. So system, it is a catalog, not schema. Sorry for that. These all are schemas. So we have schema related to access, AI, billing, all these things. Out of all this, the currently we will focus on this billing part. That is where the cost related information is stored. And this is where like some account related prices are stored, list prices and usage. So to calculate the job, we mainly need to focus on usage and list prices table. So these are the two tables we will be using. Now let's see how we can calculate it using these two tables using SQL. So now I'm in my Databricks notebook. First of all, we will understand what is there in this usage table. So let's do a select star from this one. Here are the results. So here we can see it has so many columns, and the main columns we will be interested is SKU name, like which kind of compute was used, because depending on the compute type, the rate of the usage is different. When something started and ended, the date, the usage unit, it is almost DBU every time. For storage, it is DSU, which is of no worry for us right now. And then this is usage metadata. This is the main place whenever we are running a job. So it's job ID, job run ID, notebook ID, cluster ID, those kind of informations are stored. And this is what we will use it. So there are some additional columns also that we can explore and use them if required. But for this demo, this is what we will be using. So this is the job run ID that I had copied. So in the usage metadata dot job run ID, if we put it, so it will fetch the information for our particular job run ID. So here we can see that it has thrown 3 entries here. And why it is 3? Like because my job, it ran for 2 hours, and inside this table, so this is how Databricks stores it. So for every hour, it will make one entry in this table. So how to read it? Like when I ran this job on this 22nd of January, so between 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., like this is the entry. 10 to 11, this is entry. 11 to 12, this one is the entry. And for each 1 hour, it will provide how much dbu was used. So let's say 9 to 10, 0.2 dbus were used. 10 to 11, 0.6, and 11 to 12, 0.4 dbus were used by my particular job. And this usage metadata and all, we can see this. So there are so many columns, but this is how we can know exactly how many dbus are used. So from this table, the useful column are these. So let's fetch only these column, and then we will proceed further. So now we can see in a simplified way, like for each hour, these many dbus were used. This is dbu, the usage unit, and this is SKU name. So now we know like this much dbu was used, but what is the cost in dollar? So how to get that? So that is where the price will come into picture. So now we need to know what is the price of each dbu, so that we can multiply the usage and get the actual cost. And that is where the SKU name will be handful. So the price part, that is stored in a separate table. So let's explore this second table, which is list prices. Inside this table, the price is stored for each and every different type of SKU, and also across time. So price may change year to year or whenever they want to change the price. So that's how there will be different entries inside this table. So now the results are here. So let's check them out. So here we can see like for each different type of compute and different region, different resources, everything it consider it as a separate SKU. So let's say job compute, it will be different. SQL compute, it will be different. Serverless compute, it will be different. Like that, there are everything is a separate SKU inside Databricks. And this is the price start and end time, and then this is where the actual price is there. So this is also like multi-layered, so we will understand it more. So now to understand it properly, let's fetch it for our SKU. So our SKU is this one. It is in East US region, and it is of type serverless. So for this particular SKU, let's fetch the details. And here we can see that for our SKU, it has fetched 5 different rows. So let's sort them by the start time so that we will understand them more. So here we can see that this particular row, it is applicable for 30th of April 2025. So after that, this is where the price is stored. And between 31st January till April, it is in this row. Like that, depending on the time, they may vary the price. So that is where we have these multiple rows. So if we want the latest price, so that is where the end time will be null, because they have not decided until when it will be applicable. So for that purpose, we use this filter, price end time is null. And then we will get the price which is currently applicable. So here we can see that after applying this filter, we are getting only one price. And this price column, it is also nested. So we need to take this effective list and then dot default. So just to explain this a bit, so price, it is applicable in like these three terms. So this is the default price which they have decided for a long term. And then for some duration, they provide some kind of discount as well. So here they put a promotional discount. And then we have this effective price. So what is the effective price after applying that promotion, if it is there or not? So we shall always use this effective list or effective price, so that we can know what is the exact cost. So finally, like in our case, this is the effective price. Now this is the price we need to multiply with our dbus used. So for that, let's do it using SQL. So now we are going to join our table. So this is the usage table, where we get the usage quantity of dbus. This is where we get the price, and then we are going to multiply the usage quantity and price so that we can go get the cost. So here we can see that after joining both the tables and doing this calculation, we can see the cost which is converted now. So to get the overall cost, the final step we need, it is just the summation. So after doing the sum, we will get the sum of these three, which will be the final cost. So here comes the final cost, which is $0.44. So this is how much is the exact cost of this particular run. And this is our final query. So if you want to know the cost, so now as you have understood all the steps, so simply you can take this particular SQL and put your job run ID here, and you will get the exact cost. And this query we can not only use to calculate the cost for a particular job run, but let's say if I remove this job run ID from here and put the job and job run ID in the group by, then we will get the cost of all the uh, jobs that are there. And if we can group by it by date as well, so for every day, every job, we can get the cost. So we can get overall information as well as a summary, and then we can even build the dashboard around it. And so far we explored only two system tables. So as you may have noticed, there are so many different types of system tables. So let's check one more quickly so that we understand that is relative to data engineering. So that is inside this Lakeflow. So here are the tables. So this table, it contains job related information, then task related information, then each and every job run is logged here. Task level runs are logged here. So that is the information that is there. And apart from this, we have like storage, model serving, SQL queries that we run, ML flow, and then we have compute. All the cluster related information is stored here. AI functions related information, it is here. And access wise also, we have separate things stored here, who accessed what time and with what permission, everything they log. So these system tables, these are very powerful tool for any kind of analysis or knowing what is going on inside Databricks. So here, as we are focusing on data engineering side, so let's quickly check the job wise also what information is stored. For example, here we have this lakeflow.jobs table, and there if I provide my job name, so for each job it stores like its job ID, who created the job, who has the run as permission, when it was last changed, the trigger. So job related configurations are stored here. And if we get this job ID from here, then task level information, it is stored in another table. So here if I provide the job ID, currently there is a single task, but if there are multiple, we will get multiple entries here. So we will get the name of the task, what is dependent task for this one, and when it was last modified, and like that. And similarly, like if we get a particular job run, the one run that we just calculated cost. So if we provide that, here I'm providing that job ID. So we get the job ID, then job run ID that we just calculated the cost, the start time, end time, result state, what parameters were passed, what kind of compute was used. So each and everything it is stored here. And similarly, task level run details are also stored in this particular table. So these tables, again, we can use it to analyze some of the things, query some of the things, or we can even build observability dashboard so that overall we can know how many jobs ran on a particular day, how many were success, how many failed. Like that, we can get all these information through SQL. We don't need to go and analyze each and every particular job. And also these runs and the cost detail we must use when we are doing any kind of performance optimization as well. So before doing the optimization, we shall check the run time and cost as well. And after optimization also, we calculate it again so that we can tell that in terms of time, this much optimization we have achieved, and in terms of cost, this much percentage of cost we are showing. So that is the real impact for customer. So I hope now you realize the power of these system tables and what we can do with these. If you still have any doubts, any thoughts, put a comment. And if you like this content, please put a like and comment on this video. That's all for now. Thank you. Bye bye. Happy learning.